Standing up against racial discrimination is one position that the MK Party today in the Western Cape in particular has taken, and that against ACOR and CASADA, protecting the rights of black businesses and their rights to thrive in South Africa and in this economy.
Issue is around a company that's owned by the Qataris Investment Authority and the French company Accor, who's formed a company called CASADA, and they are a hospitality company buying up hospitality assets, hotels, etc. on the whole continent. Right? They've set up in 2020 up in Joburg. I was still the ambassador in Qatar at the time, and I kind of assisted in them accessing South Africa to set up. And they then went to acquire some assets. The Cape Grace on the waterfront is one of it. The hotel that Pullman's now, previously Radisson Blu, and one other asset that they acquired. And you know, so when they entered South Africa, they were introduced to a black consortium that assisted them to go and hunt for the assets, because it took them quite a while to actually acquire their first asset. And they were struggling to find the right assets. And with the assistance of the black consortium, they managed to get to the Radisson Blu, at least. I then kind of disappeared off the scene because I thought they sorted out, only to recently find out that they have circumvented the black consortium in this matter. And the black consortium were ready to contribute their portion of whatever arrangement they had.
Have been observing the DA government doing this, removing the BE project, which has been set up in particular and enhanced by President Jacob Zuma. The DA, ever since started now, if you look more especially in the World Cup, to bring in people, foreigners in our country, overtake the businesses, but it doesn't want the black people in particular to be empowered. Now, we are saying that should come to an end, and it should come in an end by giving support to those individuals who are finding themselves vulnerable from the DA government, because we know in the background of it is the DA and the capitalists. It is their agenda. The poor must stay poor. That is exactly why we are coming here as MK.
We need to get rid of white monopoly capitals, because that is what marginalizes our people. I am the chairperson of the Backyard Dwellers, and we've been fighting for housing. You know, the Backyard Dwellers, they have been on the waiting list for 30 years, and we joined the MK Party because we need to, for the Section 25 that President Zuma wants to change, and the Constitution, the Dutch law. That is what oppresses us.
Die event van vandaag is een historische event vooral voor die MK Party en vooral voor die zwart mensen van Zuid-Afrika die door wit monopolie kapitaal onderdrukt worden. Daar vind baie onregverdighede plaas en as ons met hierdie event suksesvol besig gaan dit die baken stel vir verdere aksies soos die om wit monopolie kapitaal te stop, om nie so die situasie rondom ons eie besigheidsmense uit te buit nie.
These local black entrepreneur companies that have been sidelined, bullied by the foreign capital. So we are here to say that MK exists specifically to fight any form of discrimination. This is our site of struggle. So our character actually is defined by the need to transform the society.
I think as youth, we have to be in charge of it. We can't just touch down and not make things happen. We've got to be sure that we are on the floor, and like the youth of 1960, the youth of 1976. I mean, every generation has its own mission. Is either they fulfill it or they betray it. I think we have to deal with the structural inequalities of our country.
And we know that the character of that nature is actually white dominant, and we have to deal with those issues.
Good day. I am MK Mitchell's Plain Morris, and the message is economic revolution. We are still colonized. 1994 didn't bring us economic liberation.
I'm here today because of apartheid that's still alive and thriving in the Western Cape, and we need to end that. And today we will take a stance on it.
I support Mkhonto Sizwe in terms of the empowerment of our people and the unfairness that's happening in the city of Cape Town and in the Western Cape itself. I think there's a need to look at the whole question of economic empowerment and how local economic empowerment happens in our communities as well.
One of the fundamental pillars of MK is radical economic transformation. And we're not going to allow foreign companies especially. In fact, we're not going to allow anybody to come and bulldoze their way into South Africa.
The Constitution of the Republic of South Africa in particularly protects the rights of all citizens against discrimination in terms of gender, business and the practices of businesses. And therefore the march today by MK in particular speaks directly to that. We one sees the party now reaching out in the Western Cape to protect the rights of those that are marginalized.